Welcome to Political Beatdown. I'm Ben Meiselas, joined by the one and only Michael Cohen. This is going to be an epic episode because there's a lot of news to discuss, including the fact that Michael Cohen is headed for a trial in a case that he brought against the Trump organization, just subpoenaed Don Jr. We're going to be talking about that. Also, the Fulton County grand jury in Georgia that will be voting on the criminal indictment of Donald Trump. They were officially selected and impaneled today. They will now begin their work. Donald Trump is asking federal judge Eileen Cannon in the Southern District of Florida for delay. Actually, he's asking for an indefinite delay of the criminal case brought by special counsel Jack Smith until after the 2024 election. I don't think that comes as a surprise that Donald Trump would seek to delay things. That's just what he does. MAGA Republicans are also attacking the Trump-appointed prosecutor David Weiss, who has been investigating Hunter Biden. They now have turned on David Weiss because the Trump-appointed prosecutor David Weiss was like, can you stop lying about me? Like, you just don't know what it is that you're talking about. And just speaking about Hunter Biden, did you see that Hunter Biden's legal team is now showing that these messages that the MAGA Republicans trot out there are clear fabrications? Like, if you look at it, a message purporting to be from an earlier date is actually taken at a later date. This is supposed to be a WhatsApp message, and there are just features there that just so clearly aren't from WhatsApp. It's like so easy bunk that stuff is just completely fabricated. Yet MAGA Republican chair of major committees are posting this stuff. Also, the same people who are posting this stuff are bringing us fake whistleblowers, including Russian oligarchs and an individual who was just criminally indicted for being a spy for China and trying to influence the Trump administration. You know, everything that the MAGA Republicans project and try to accuse the Biden administration for. Oh, by the way, this whistleblower was also an Iranian arms dealer, just to add insult to injury, and a Libyan arms dealer as well. Oh, and by the way, breaking news right before we went live, the Department of Justice just filed paperwork in the Southern District of New York stating that they will not be asserting that they should be a party in the E. Jean Carroll defamation case brought against Donald Trump. You'll recall there are two E. Jean Carroll cases. The first defamation and assault case that she prevailed in, she won $5 million, was awarded that by a jury. The other case was on all of these appellate procedures, went to the Second Circuit, went to the Washington, D.C. Court of Appeal, returned back to the Southern District of New York. With all of the new facts that had been developed at the first trial, the way Bill Barr used the United States government to claim that they should be the defendant and not Donald Trump. Right now, Merrick Garland saying, we've got new facts based on the fact that Donald Trump was held liable. We are not substituting in the United States government. Donald Trump, you're on your own. You see, we said it. So much to discuss. Cohen, let's start talking about you and your trial first.
Yeah, well, let me begin by turning around and saying, Ben, that after your opening, if in fact that Republicans continue to support this Mandarin Mussolini, this complete and utter nut job, then my biggest fear, and it's something that you and I had spoken about earlier, one of my biggest fears is if you start to see the response that Donald Trump is getting from his MAGA supporters, and while they only amount to 26 to 28% of the GOP, it's a significant number. This son of a bitch is actually filling up these smaller areas, these small arenas, not like he did before with the stadiums, but look, we're far off from the campaign and we're far off from getting close to the election. It's why I implore every single, beatdown brigader to tell your friends about Political Beatdown. Make sure they join us on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Central Time. It is so important that we develop a bigger community than what we already are. I mean, we're killing it thanks to all of you. But we need to now explode this thing. We need to make sure that Donald Trump, not only is he not ever permitted back into the White House, he may not even be permitted back into DC, because what he's doing right now it's not just anti-democratic, it's disgraceful. I mean, Ben, you hit it right on the head when you said it's all about deflection. It's everything that Donald has done again and again and again. And what he's doing is he's deflecting it upon everybody else, specifically the Biden administration. The fact that they are using misinformation, disinformation, malinformation in order to try to go after the Bidens, right? I mean, and this is now proven. They've had whistleblowers who are either no longer alive or never existed. I mean, this is truly anti-democratic. It's anti-American. It's anti-everything that we stand for. And for some unknown reason, and this is a slight to our Democratic Party, they are terrible at messaging. I mean, that's the one thing that we do. We constantly provide you with raw and unfiltered messaging that it's true. It's all legitimate. And our goal is to ensure, again, a complete blue wave victory come 2024.
So, Cohen, tell us about your trial. It's a civil case against the Trump Organization for certain unpaid fees and costs. When is the trial? What are you seeking at the trial? And of course, there was the news that you just subpoenaed Don Jr. to appear at trial. Do you have any new information about that subpoena? Do you expect Don Jr. to be there? Let the brigaders know what to expect about this trial.
All righty. So, as you may have heard me say on this program before, 4 years ago, I brought an action against the Trump Organization for unpaid legal fees, for monies that I still owe to various different firms that dealt with issues that I was asked to handle on behalf of Donald Trump, on behalf of the Trump Organization, which I had done. As typical for Trump Organization, and of course at the direction of whether it's Donald or Don Jr., who at this point in time is the CEO of the company, they stopped paying simply because I stopped staying on message. And it was a message that, it's a message that they were interested in continuing to promote. And so the way that they hurt you is that they stop paying the lawyers and they start to denigrate you. This is a play out of the Trump playbook we've seen over and over again. So 4 years ago, that lawsuit was brought, and a handful of motions. And ultimately, there was one motion that was determined by the judge, and it dismissed the entire case. That case was then brought out. What we did is we filed an appeal, and the First Circuit came back with a 5-0 decision and remanded it back to the judge to continue the case, which is where we are now. On July 7th, we appeared for pre-trial conference. The judge was somewhat shocked simply because counsel, and it's like the second or third now counsel that Trump has had in this case, they went ahead and they filed 7 motions in limine. And that's in order to keep things out at the trial. And one of the things was, of course, Donald Trump, Don Jr., Alan Weisselberg, etc. Make a long story short here, the judge dismissed all of their motions in limine, which is a massive victory for us. And that was on the last Friday, which I think was something like the 11th, where the judge turned around and said, now I have the full day to dedicate to you, which he did, and ruled in our behalf and for our benefit. We are now scheduled for voir dire of the jury, and that will take place on the 17th, and trial begins July 24th. It has been a long and arduous road. It's been a long and arduous journey to get to where we are. The amount of money that has been spent in order to get to Trump accountability has been enormous. But rest assured, on the 24th, when that trial starts, I do truly believe that the Trump organization will be held accountable. And as far as Don Jr., he is the CEO of the corporation. He was one of two people who were responsible for approving or disapproving of fees and bills and invoices that were coming in. So he has a lot to explain. The subpoena went out because there was no way in the world that he was going to voluntarily come in. And so we filed that subpoena, and we do expect that he shows up. If not, we expect to hold him in contempt of court.
You are still seeking punitive damages, are you not?
Yeah, so that was actually one of the motions in limine. That will ultimately come in at the end of the case after a hopeful successful verdict by the jury. Then we will make additional motion for punitive and consequential damages.
In other words, there will be two phases. It will be bifurcated. In other words, there's going to be, or a trifurcated. There's already essentially a stipulation on liability. There's now a focus
So
on
let's explain
economic
that to let's explain that to the brigaders. They've already acknowledged liability. So that issue is off the table. This is now a trial for damages. Most trials, well, actually all trials are bifurcated, as Ben was just describing. One is on liability. The second half of the trial is on damages. They have conceded to and admitted to all of the averments of the complaint, thereby taking that off the table. We are now solely a trial on damages. So it's not an issue of whether I win or I lose. The question really is how much.
And then the next phase could potentially be if the jury finds that the willful withholding of payment was done maliciously or fraudulently, you can go on to the next phase and potentially have a punitive damages phase. So we will be watching that, and we'll have to figure out while you're in trial, do I do a co-host? Do you recommend someone? You know, you're going to be
I will figure out how to do this. Don't you worry. We will figure it out. I don't care if I'm going to live stream it from the courtroom, which, by the way, I think that you might be able to do. I will try to see whether or not we can do that. How great would that be?
That would be so awesome if lunch, like the jury room while the jury's at lunch, or from one of the offices in the courtroom, we were doing a political beatdown. That would be fantastic. So stay tuned, everybody, for that, because here on Political Beatdown, you'll be getting all of the information first about Michael Cohen's case, how it is progressing, and you'll get real-time updates, potentially even updates in the courtroom.
Ben, this isn't all. This isn't all. With the $500 million lawsuit against me by Trump, and again, to all of those of you who have been so kind and helped and supported this frivolous action against Trump, that case has a hearing in Miami on the 20th. And I'm contemplating on going down with counsel to be a part of that because it's that important. So, and then coming back, right after the court appearance, it's so important that I be there. This is all about the discovery schedule, and it is perfectly in line with what you brought up during your opening, Ben, or I should say our opening, which you hijack continuously, but I'm not going to say anything on that. And you do it brilliantly, by the way, my friend. You do it brilliantly. One of the things that Trump has asked for through his lawyer is that the deposition of Donald for that case be held off until 90 days after the election. And that's not going to happen. You don't bring a $500 million lawsuit to which he ended up pulling down several millions of dollars from his, supporters, grifting off of them, off of this case, talking about how he's going to lay me flat out on the ground. with this and destroy me. Well, no. You have an obligation as the plaintiff to push the case forward, not to delay it. And if you wanted to delay it, you shouldn't have brought it. So this is not going to bode well for Trump or his lawyer. And we have a lot of documentation on that case. And it's why I want to be there, so that I could look at the judge and the judge could look at me and understand just how serious this is, that these frivolous cases, the frivolity of Donald Trump and the abuse of our legal system has to stop. And it's another thing that I am adamant about, is ensuring that this bullshit stops today.
And you think about it, I mean, it really is BS. You have Donald Trump sues you, Michael Cohen, in the Southern District of Florida, Miami Division, for $500 million, making completely frivolous allegations. But nonetheless, you now have to hire lawyers. This is burdensome to you. I mean, he's doing it to retaliate against the fact that you were a witness in connection with the Manhattan District Attorney's criminal case against him. So you're hauled into this court. Your life is upended because he sued you. He fundraises off of it. He makes millions of dollars off it. And then you, now as a defendant who are sued by Donald Trump, you have a simple request. You say, look, you sued me. Now I want to prove that your lawsuit is frivolous. And I want to prove that this case should never have been filed. So I want to take your deposition in the case that you filed. And the audacity of Donald Trump and his lawyers to say, whoa, 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 whoa. He's not too busy where he can file the lawsuit against Cohen, but he's way too busy to sit for a 7-hour deposition by Michael Cohen's attorneys. And by the way, this deposition, you know what's going to. We've seen other Trump depositions, and if y'all thought the E. Jean Carroll deposition was something, I got to tell you what's going to go down in this deposition, because Michael Cohen knows where all of the Trump bodies are buried.
It's actually been, it's a line that I hate with a passion, and I'm not angry at you, right? The Trump organization is not Murder Inc. We didn't beat anybody with shovels and baseball bats and bury them in Central Park and so on. But you are right. It's a characterization that I hate because it's so mafioso, Ray Donovan type. I do know his lies. All right. And I can tell you that my attorneys, Danya Perry, who's here from New York and has an office in Florida too, as well as Ben Brodsky down in Florida, they are spectacular. Now, I got to tell you, E. Jean Carroll's lawyer, all right, Roberta Kaplan, is equally fabulous. She's great too. But Danya and Ben, let me tell you, this deposition is going to be an absolute fucking ass kicking like this guy has never seen before. Because the two of them, Danya and Ben, when you get them going and we're across the table, let me tell you, it's a kick to the nuts with steel-tip boots. And I am, for one, anxious to see this thing happen. But you are right. The arrogance of Donald to bring this action so he could fundraise off it, the frivolity of it, it's exactly why he got sanctioned along with Alina Habba for $1 million out of the Southern District of Palm Beach in a different frivolous case that he filed. He has to stop. He takes up valuable resources, and basically what it's doing, it's intended to not just defame me, but it's also intended to dissuade me and others from participating in any legal proceeding that he deems negative to him. And I'm not going to stop. And yes, you're right, Ben. You're 1,000 times correct on this one. It has uprooted my life. It has turned my life upside down. Not only does it affect me, but my family, which rips and shreds my soul. The fact that this has made everyone's life so fucking difficult so that he could do what? Fundraise, raise more money, get more media attention off of bullshit? No, this has to stop. The guy is an autocratic wannabe, a monarch, a dictator, a Führer, and there's no chance in the world that I will stop. I will continue to walk. I will continue to keep my chin up, and I will continue to fight until there is no more fight in me.
And that's why we love you, Michael Cohen. The expression that I gave was not intended literally. It was an
I know.
idiom.
I still love you, brother.
But from idiom to idiot, Alina Habba, she's no longer Donald Trump's lawyer on a lot of these cases. I'm not sure if you saw, she was removed as Donald Trump's lawyer in all of the cases that were filed, removed from the New York Attorney General case. And she's now basically the so-called general counsel of the Trump political action entity that's also under criminal investigation by special counsel Jack Smith. Cohen, I got to get your reaction to Alina Habba being...
And before you ask me this question, I do really want to get one thing in. I want people to go back and remember what happened when Omarosa left the White House as its employee. And there's an audio actually of Lara Trump reaching out to Omarosa and offering her a position with the Trump Make America Great Again PAC, where they were going to pay her, what was it, like $20,000 or $15,000 a month to basically keep her mouth shut. That's what they do. They go ahead and they bring you into the PAC, which Donald isn't paying for. The moronic grifters are paying in order to ensure that she stays on message, that she stays in the Trump camp, which is a mistake. And it's the type of mistake that I had said to Walt Nada. Same thing that I said to Rudy Colludi, drunken Giuliani. Fucking run. Stupids, run. You see a rabid dog coming at you, all right? Run. But will they do it? I don't know. I think Rudy's already done it. Walt, not so sure yet.
I think Rudy's done it. I think Mark Meadows has done it.
Ivanka, Jared.
I think a whole host of people are taking that advice. Many still aren't, and they are going to see the ramifications of those choices. I think you answered my question about what you think about Alina Habba leaving. We still got a lot to discuss. Let's talk about the Fulton County grand jury that has been selected. Let's talk about Donald Trump requesting that the case brought by special counsel Jack Smith be continued essentially indefinitely until after the November 2024 election. That and more after this quick break.
Support for Meidas is brought to you by Manscaped, who has the best in men's below-the-waist grooming products. That's right, their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Join over 8 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code BEAT at manscaped.com. Look, everyone knows that you have to be careful when dealing with the family jewels. You definitely don't want to use an old crusty electric trimmer. Yikes! That's why I'm so excited to partner with Manscaped. Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0 has arrived, and oh man, it's a game changer. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker, ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies. First off, the Lawnmower 4.0, this trimmer is the future of grooming, and dare I say the greatest below-the-waist trimmer ever? Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof and also has 4000K LED spotlights you'll need for a more precise shave. And because this trimmer is waterproof, you can say goodbye to the mess on the bathroom floor. You thought that was good, but want to take your grooming game to the next level? The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and provides proprietary skin-safe technology, which helps reduce nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate nose holes. Their Crop Preserver deodorant and Crop Reviver toner will change the way you approach your hygiene routine. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Performance Package 4.0, the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. Bring your comfort and boxers to another level. It's time to take care of yourself, so go to manscaped.com and get 20% off plus free shipping with code BEAT. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code BEAT. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
Ben Meiselas here. Did you know that your temperature at night can have one of the greatest impacts on your sleep quality? If you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Inspired by NASA, Miracle Made uses silver-infused fabrics and makes temperature-regulating bedding so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. Using silver-infused fabrics originally inspired by NASA, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, so you get better sleep every night. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. And get this, Miracle sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands and feel as nice, if not nicer, than bed sheets used by some 5-star hotels. Stop sleeping on bacteria. Bacteria can clog your pores, causing breakouts and acne. Sleep clean with Miracle. Go to trymiracle.com/beat to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo BEAT at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/beat and use the code BEAT to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40%. Again, that's trymiracle.com/beat to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. We're back. Michael Cohen.
You know,
How are
it's
you?
funny with Manscaped and so on. The first thing that comes to my mind is, Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, I'm talking about Jack Smith now, right? So let's change again. Jack Smith be nimble, Jack Smith be quick, Jack Smith kick Donald in his mushroom dick. But make sure it's Manscaped, right? And that way, when you end up going to the hospital for a fucking hydra seal, all right, you can rest assured they're not laughing. Well, they're going to laugh at that mushroom pecker anyway, but at least he'll be Manscaped.
You know what, Cohen?
That's a great
I have
commercial.
I have an idea. We should do. I mean, I know you've written 2 New York Times bestsellers, so I want to. I'm selfish. I want to get in on the action here. You and me are going to do the MeidasTouch Michael Cohen poetry book, and you're going to do
Michaelisms?
Michaelisms, but we'll do the poems just like that. And we'll do about 20 or 30 poems for people. I would absolutely love that. But speaking about getting kicked in the balls, I have a lot of places I could go with this transition, but did you see that we covered it on the MeidasTouch network that these Republican parties that are now MAGA Republican parties throughout the states, they're like completely bankrupt. Like the Arizona Republican Party's down to $50,000 because they have the Trump School of Finance, Trump University. The Michigan Republican Party, they're down to like $100,000 at this point. And when they meet at these committee events at the state Republican Party level, they keep getting into like fist fights and like they're actually kicking each other in the balls. And so at this Republican event that took place over the weekend in Michigan, one of the leaders from one of the committees, the Republican committees, said that like he opened the door and then someone else who was there to attend kicked him in the balls and then they broke each other's ribs. That's the state of the modern day Republican.
Wait. Hold on one second. Did Kimberly Gargoyle get kicked in the balls?
Kimberly Gargoyle was
that's
not
Kimberly
involved.
Gargoyle. That's Christina Caramo. Oh, I see. Oh, my apologies.
Christina Caramo, the leader of the Michigan Republican Party, she's the one who records these videos of herself saying, I woke up and I saw a possum that was being eaten by a bald eagle. And therefore, I believe that there is a globalist conspiracy, like some of the most deranged stuff, Michael Cohen. But they're in the image of Donald Trump. Speaking about the image of Donald Trump, it loomed over the selection process in Fulton County, Georgia, where the grand jury that will ultimately be selected, that will be voting on the indictment, met today. It was about a 3-hour process. The grand jury was selected. This is the 4th judicial term for Fulton County Superior Court. They're expected to meet for the next 2 or 3 weeks and then take the vote on indicting Donald Trump. We expect here on the MeidasTouch Network somewhere between July 31st and August 18th, Donald Trump will be indicted by the grand jury. Lots of people say, how does grand jury selection work, Ben? Well, here's how it works. Just like jury selection, you get a letter in the mail, you show up, you get selected if you could be fair and impartial. There were 2 grand jury panels that were selected. Only one will be hearing the evidence in the Trump case, but the Fulton County District Attorney hears lots of cases from financial crimes to violent crimes. You name it, they go before the grand juries. Grand juries often don't just hear one case. They're hearing many different cases that are being presented at the same time. The grand jury is composed of 26 grand jurors. 3 are alternates. 23 will actually be capable of making the vote. You need 16 grand jurors present for an indictment vote to take place. You need 12 votes in favor of the indictment for the indictment to issue. There was a special purpose grand jury in Fulton County, Georgia that previously met, which didn't have the power to indict. It prepared a report and recommendations. That report and recommendations now goes before the grand jury with some additional evidence as well that will be presented by Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis and her team. And during the gap between the special purpose grand jury and now the actual grand jury, we've learned a lot about potential fake electors, these so-called fake electors who affix their names to fake electoral certificates to try to be counted by Pence, and he never ended up counting it. Some of them have flipped. That's one of the areas being investigated here. Also, the threat to Brad Raffensperger, the Republican Secretary of State, where Donald Trump said, find me 11,780 votes or else bad things are going to happen to you, Brad. That's part of the criminal investigation. And also, there was a theft of election data, specifically in the Coffee County election offices, where the MAGA Republican chair of the Coffee County GOP let in forensic and analysts who work for the Trump campaign, and they just stole election data from the Coffee County election offices to try to manipulate and fabricate that data. One of the big tools that's going to be used by the Fulton County District Attorney's Office is the very powerful RICO statutes in the state of Georgia, and we should expect an expansive indictment that focuses heavily on RICO. I think somebody called Donald Trump in the chat RICO Suave. So expect the RICO indictment of Donald Trump there.
Yeah. Well, I do. There's one additional thing that I wanted to share with our brigaders. I actually on Friday have a meeting with a Democratic strategist in regard to my consideration for a congressional bid. This guy is a long-term and a long-time Democratic operative, and we're going to sit down and sort of have a nice long conversation about how and when and the right way in order to do it, and to bring on legitimately really top-notch people, because I have no interest in pursuing something like this unless I'm going to win. I mean, I'm adamant. It's like the same thing with our Political Beatdown. We didn't just create Political Beatdown to have 100 people, 1,000 people. Just so you understand that right now, Political Beatdown, where are we at, Ben and Salty? What number are we at in terms of YouTube news in the world? I mean, we're just killing it in terms of this.
Usually during our live at this slot, we're usually in the top 3 across all genres in the world. And if you looked at the MeidasTouch Network digital views, just you could compare them to Fox, to CNN, to, and especially any other large media networks, other than MSNBC. We come close with MSNBC and sometimes Trade Days. More people watch the MeidasTouch network than any other large media network on digital, and that's thanks to you, the Political Beatdown
People right now
brigade.
are saying that we're #1, which is fantastic. But here's the thing. We need 1 million people watching all at the same time. And that's why I'm asking everyone, tell your friends about 4:30 Tuesday and Thursdays. You're the first one to hear all the breaking news from us, raw, unfiltered. Everybody knows somebody today is going to get the 2 fingers salute. All right. We haven't gotten there yet, but we are. And I got to be honest with you, this is the single most important platform that's out there right now, in my opinion. And not because I'm on it. I say it because it's raw, it's unfiltered, and it's truthful. And one of the things that Ben and I try to do on every single show is we're trying to build this community so that not only will our voices be heard, but they will make a difference, whether it's from Oklahoma to New York to Florida to California to Nevada. It makes no difference where you're at. Idaho, Ohio, makes no difference. Everybody is needed. We need to have a kick-ass blue wave. Why? Because you have fucking idiots like this Mike Lindell, the My Pillow guy. I want you to think about this for a second. This fucking moron, and there's no other way to describe him, this fucking moron builds a business selling pillows and shit, becomes a billionaire, only to basically lose it. He's now selling all of his stock inventory, machinery. He's looking to lease back properties in order to keep the business going. For who? For what? For the Mango Mussolini? For Donald fucking Trump? A guy that wouldn't piss on him if he had to cross the street and put out the fire? The answer is he wouldn't do shit for anyone. He wouldn't do anything for anyone unless it benefits him. Now, you would think that he would do something for Mike Lindell since this asshole put up so much money. But you know what? That's yesterday's news. It's what did you do for me today? And it's impossible for constantly to do something for Donald day in and day out. There's nobody on this planet, well, maybe an Elon Musk, but he ain't doing it for him. Elon Musk is using Donald like a useful idiot in order to advance himself. It's just narcissism. And Donald is the king of narcissistic sociopathy.
Thinking about Mike Lindell, the fascist pillow guy, I mean, he, though, was walking into the White House. Remember, he had the papers falling out of his pocket in December of 2020 that would say, like, the paperwork in the Oval Office, fascist pillow guy. It would say, like, declare martial law, like appoint Kash Patel, CIA director. I mean, that's what he was meeting with Donald Trump about during these critical days before the January 6th insurrection. There's photographs of the paperwork falling out of his pants. I mean, that's why we always say about MAGA, it is fascism meets idiocracy. And speaking about fascism meeting idiocracy, those forces came together in this federal court case brought by special counsel Jack Smith against Donald Trump and Donald Trump's co-defendant Walt Nauta for the willful retention of national defense information, conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and making false statements. Comes as no surprise to us, Cohen, right, that Donald Trump, when it came time to file on July 10th, his position about when the trial date should be held, special counsel Jack Smith filed first. Jack Smith requested 2023 trial date, December 12th of 2023. Trump made his filing with Walt Nauta. They are essentially attached at the hip. Trump's not letting Walt Nauta leave his side at all. And Walt Nauta, Walt Nauta touches the guy at all times. And Donald Trump has a hand on this guy's arm at all times. Well, Trump and Nauta are saying that there shouldn't even be a trial date set, and we should simply reevaluate where we are with all of this after the November 2024 election. One of the things that Trump cites is, one, I'm going to be very, very busy during the election, and that's going to occupy a lot of my time. He says that he's involved in a lot of trials. He cites the New York Attorney General civil case. He cites the Manhattan District Attorney criminal case. And Walt Nauta's lawyer has a lot of federal trials as well.
So far, has it taken him 1 minute off of the golf course? The answer is no. He's still out there. And as far as I'm concerned, it's one of the things that we're also going to bring up on the 20th when we go down to Florida to the court. Well, the guy certainly seems to find time within which to go to Bedminster, to go to the golf course, or to the golf course at Summit in Florida. All right. He should be able to find 7 hours to bring his ass down to Miami. All right. And to do what he's obligated to do pursuant to law. But Ben, can I just bring something up? Something that was on your, and you know, we're both, Ben and I are on Instagram as well. You can find MeidasTouch. You can find me there. Also, Michael Cohen 2.0. But one of the things, and Salty, if you got it, you posted a picture there of first a Russian oligarch, now a spy for the Chinese Communist Party. This is something that scared the piss out of me when I saw it. I had read it early in the morning, and I didn't do much with it. And I thank you for being better at that than I, especially in this. But Jim Jordan and also James Comer, these two assholes, all right, these two assholes colluding with our adversaries to try to oust the president of the United States. Now, look, I want to be very clear. I understand as Republicans, you want the House, you want the Senate, you want the White House. I get it, right? I mean, nobody wants to be a part of, you know, the red team and then end up, you know, having to play with the blue team. All right. They're doing what they're supposed to do. However, not at the expense of the United States of America, not at the expense of the United States of America's citizens, meaning us. These two fucking assholes, and there's no other way to describe them, are colluding with our adversaries in an attempt to oust Joe Biden from the office of the presidency of the United States of America. Now, think about that for a quick second. If, in fact, that you are one of the adversaries to the United States, and you're saying, whoa. Well, there is now all of this internal fighting. This is a great time for us to do something that places the national security of the United States of America at risk for our benefit. There is something that we can do to take advantage, whether we're going to use Jim Jordan and James Comer as useful idiots. Is there a way that we could continue to sow misinformation, disinformation, malinformation using social media platforms? And, you know, just to promote one additional thing, both Ben and I and Meidas and so on, we're all on Threads, which so far has been a blessing because it gives us an alternate platform within which to communicate to each and every one of you. So make sure that you subscribe and follow. All right. These two assholes, absolutely. And I hate to split up the two-finger fucking salute, but to you, Jim Jordan, to you, James Comer, fuck you. All right. There's nothing more important. Do you know the single most important job of the president of the United States is not to balance the budget? All right. It's to keep you and I safe. It's all about national security. All right. That's the first obligation of the president of the United States of America, is to ensure the safety of all Americans. And these two assholes, all right, these two assholes are doing what? They're placing us in jeopardy? Nah. All right. It's enough already. And that's why, again, I beseech every single brigader, tell your friends about Political Beatdown. Tell them to follow, subscribe, do whatever, so that we could all stay in touch. And when the time comes, there will be millions of us, not thousands, not hundreds of thousands, not small, millions. And we will ensure that this is going to be a 2024 blue wave that is nothing like has ever been seen before.
I want to talk about Comer and Jordan and Kevin McCarthy and their fake whistleblowers. I want to close the loop quickly on the motion filed by Trump before Judge Eileen Cannon, just listing some of the reasons that they were requesting this indefinite extension. Number 3, they also claim the Classified Information Procedure Act is going to make things take a very long time. Number 4, that special Jack Smith turned over a lot of discovery that's going to take them a long time to get through. But get this, Jack Smith did turn over a lot of discovery. Just shows you how much work Jack Smith's doing. Jack Smith turned over to date in that first document dump 833,000 documents were produced about 2 weeks ago when we talked about how special counsel Jack Smith told the court that he had produced and his office produced discovery. 833,000 documents. And then Trump argues there's a lot of legal issues that they're going to be briefing. So they ask for an indefinite extension. Special counsel Jack Smith's asking for this December 2023 trial date, specifically December 12th of 2023. And ultimately, Judge Eileen Cannon's going to have to make that determination. So we will see what that ruling is. Getting back to James Comer and Jim Jordan, to your point, they've been out there making up these fake whistleblowers. We talked on a past episode about this Russian oligarch or Ukrainian oligarch that's kind of on team Vladimir Putin. And they were saying through double hearsay that this oligarch was the source and that they need to protect Russian oligarchs at all costs as whistleblowers. And it was like, what are you talking about? But then they had talked about this other missing whistleblower. They said there was the missing Hunter Biden whistleblower who's got all of this information on the Biden administration, who they said is incredibly credible. This is exactly what James Comer said about this individual named Gail Luft. Play the clip.
No, he's very credible, and the people on MSNBC who made fun of me when I said we had an informant that was missing, they should feel like fools right now.
They are fools.
And this is their worst nightmare because, again, this is a credible witness that the FBI flew all the way to Brussels to interview and sent several agents to interview.
Idiot. They went to Brussels probably to try to arrest the guy. Number one, he was just indicted, this individual who they say is their very credible whistleblower. He was indicted for essentially being a unauthorized agent of the government of China, that he evaded FARA registration and tried to influence peddle for the Chinese government to get influence over the Trump administration. As alleged, Gail Luft, who is their missing whistleblower, a dual U.S.-Israeli citizen, he was the former co-head of a Maryland think tank, engaged in multiple serious criminal schemes. He subverted foreign agent registration laws in the United States to seek to promote policies of the Chinese government by acting through a former high-ranking U.S. government official. He acted as a broker in arms deals for dangerous weapons and Iranian oil, and he told multiple lies about his crimes to law enforcement. That indictment was just sealed, and many of the crimes and emails and even the process for this indictment predates any of the stuff that's being claimed by these MAGA Republicans. This stuff was taking place before the MAGA Republicans took over the House of Representatives. You see in the unsealed indictment, it has a 2022 date on it as well. So this stuff far predates it. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about this Trump-appointed prosecutor as well, who's saying to Kevin McCarthy, like, can you stop spreading conspiracies about me? Like, you don't have the facts, right? I had full control over the Hunter Biden criminal investigation. Stop lying about me. Yet Kevin McCarthy and the MAGA Republicans are attacking this Trump-appointed prosecutor. And not only is Donald Trump attacking this Trump-appointed prosecutor, Donald Trump made a post today that said that Hunter Biden should have received the death penalty from him. Like, beyond unhinged and dangerous and disgusting.
Ben, I want to jump in here. I got to jump in here for a quick second, because a lot of our brigaders in the comments, they're like, Michael, please, too many F-bombs and so on. And you're probably right about it. I won't stop, but you're probably right about it. And you know when I'll stop? I'll stop when the bullshit by these fucking MAGA morons, these idiots in Congress, stop doing what the fact that James Comer, by the way, doesn't he sound just like Quagmire from Family Guy, right? Giggity, giggity, right, okay. I mean, he's so fucking stupid, and I'm so angry, and I'm angry about it because they're fucking with our democracy. So yeah, I use too many F-bombs. I agree. But listen, I'm a New Yorker, and I feel so strongly about what they're doing. They're ruining our country. That's what they're doing. And they're ruining our country for their own benefit. All right. Now, how they think that it's going to benefit them? Yeah, it's going to benefit Donald. How? Well, he's going to end up being able to escape somehow all of the legal liabilities that he's racked up, that all of the various different people from DA Bragg to Tish James, AG Tish James, to DA Fani Willis, to Special Prosecutor Jack Smith, and on, right? All of their cases will end up being for naught simply because Donald is running for the presidency. Could you imagine a twice impeached, twice indicted, soon to be thrice indicted, all right, sexual assaulter? That's a civil sexual assault, right? Could you imagine that this guy is leading the Republican Party? That's really the best that you got? And you know what? To counter it, you know what the argument by the Republicans, by the GOP is? Well, Joe Biden is old. Well, Donald's only 3 years younger. All right. You're not talking about being a spring chicken. He also happens to be morbidly obese. So at the same time, whereas, I mean, Biden's sitting there on the beach, shirt off, enjoying himself. I wish he wouldn't do that, but nevertheless, he's out there. When was the last time you saw Trump with his shirt off? God forbid.
President Biden, let the man cook. Let him go to the beach. I'm perfectly fine with it. I want to talk about, though, this latest absurd attack by Kevin McCarthy on this Trump-appointed prosecutor. But first, let's take our last quick break of the day.
And now let's take a quick break to talk about our next partner, Fume. Cold turkey, it may be great on sandwiches, but there's a better way to break your bad habits. We're not talking about some weird mind voodoo from your wacky neighbor or some sketchy message board. We're talking about our sponsor, Fume, and they look at the problem in a different way. Now, not everything in a bad habit is wrong. So instead of drastic, uncomfortable change, why not just remove the bad from your habit? Fume is an innovative, award-nominated device that does just that. Instead of electronics, Fume is completely natural. Instead of vapor, Fume uses flavored air. And instead of harmful chemicals, Fume uses all natural, delicious flavors. You get it. Instead of bad, Fume is good. It's a habit you're free to enjoy and makes replacing your bad habit easy. Your Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial and is designed with movable parts and magnets for fidgeting, giving your fingers a lot to do, which is helpful for de-stressing and anxiety while breaking your habit. The first time I used Fume, I was shocked at how flavorful and fresh it tasted. Now, it's easy to hold and perfectly balanced and quite honestly, extremely fun to fidget with. The real wood material and sleek design definitely classes it up, and I feel pretty darn cool holding it. Stopping is something we all put off because it's hard, but switching to Fume is easy, enjoyable, and even fun. Fume has served over 100,000 customers and has thousands of success stories, and there's no reason that can't be you. Head to tryfume.com and use code BEAT to save 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. That's tryfum.com and use code BEAT to save an additional 10% off your order today.
Welcome back. We're live on Political Beatdown. So the MAGA Republicans in the House of Representatives have been saying that this Trump-appointed prosecutor, David Weiss, was compromised, that he didn't actually have control over the criminal investigation into Hunter Biden. President Biden could have fired David Weiss, who was appointed by Donald Trump, because that's what happens when a new administration comes in. They fire all the other top federal prosecutors who were appointed by the prior administration. But the Biden administration and Merrick Garland didn't even want to have the appearance of impropriety. So they said, hey, we know this is Trump's guy. He was appointed by Donald Trump, who's prosecuting for President Biden, my son. I'm not going to touch this. And Merrick Garland basically said, you do whatever you want to do. If you want special attorney status, which is different than what's called special counsel status, special attorney status allows you to bring charges in other jurisdictions where you're not the United States attorney. Merrick Garland said, do it. Do whatever you want. I'm not overseeing it. You have ultimate authority. And how do we know it? The Trump-appointed prosecutor said it in multiple letters, sent a letter to MAGA Republican Jim Jordan on June 7th, sent a letter to MAGA Republican Jim Jordan on June 30th, sent a letter to Lindsey Graham, MAGA Republican, this past week. Multiple letters to MAGA Republicans saying, I have been granted ultimate authority over this matter, including responsibility for deciding where, when, and whether to file charges, and for making decisions necessary to preserve the integrity of the prosecution consistent with federal law, the principles of federal prosecution, and departmental regulations. I stand by what I wrote. By the way, lying to Congress is a crime. I know Jim Jordan.
It's one of the offenses I went to prison for.
Yeah,
it's 1,001 violation.
Michael Cohen went to prison for it. So I know MAGA Republican Jim Jordan lies to Congress every day and claims speech or debate immunity and says, well, I'm just doing my congressional job. And I know Jim Jordan's not a licensed attorney and never took the bar exam ever, but David Weiss did. And David Weiss is sending multiple letters making that representation. What David Weiss can't do yet, because it's still an active criminal case, he's not permitted yet to testify before Congress because the case is still active. Yet he says in all three of these letters, I'm happy to testify as soon as the case wraps up when I am allowed to. But the MAGA Republican disinformation machine uses that to double and triple down. You know, it's okay to be wrong and say, hey, we made a mistake. We were wrong about that. Watch what Kevin McCarthy says. You may have saved that two-finger salute too early, because watch what Kevin McCarthy just said. Play the clip.
That Garland is correct.
Weiss has not come before us and talked to us. Weiss wrote a letter that even raises more questions. You had 6 people in a room who some are saying something different, that have no philosophical bent one way or another, concerned about equal justice, coming before the Ways and Means Committee. And it's interesting now, even that it wasn't just said in the meeting, they took notes and they sent it back. It was so questionable when he said that he couldn't become a special prosecutor that he got asked the question back because the individual knew how important that was. So I would think even you as a reporter would have that question as well. And I think everybody in the American public does as well.
Weiss has said he can't talk about it because it's an ongoing investigation.
Well, he's going to have to.
And what are
Again, double, triple down, not say, oh, the Trump appointed prosecutor is saying this. So this was the person we said was compromised. No, now he's a liar. Now Bill Barr's a liar. Did you see this Trump post that Trump just made? I mean, this is some really disgusting stuff, Cohen. If we have it here, pull it up right now. Trump goes, this is the person who Trump appointed. Okay, David Weiss, Trump's own prosecutor. He goes, Weiss is a coward, a smaller version of Bill Barr, who never had the courage to do what everyone knows should have been done. He gave out a traffic ticket instead of a death sentence. Because of the 2 Democrat senators in Delaware, they got to choose and or approve him. Maybe the judge presiding will have the courage and intellect to break up the cesspool of crime. The collusion and corruption is beyond description. 2 tiers of justice. Again, it's all projection, but like, you don't hear any other media networks other than ours saying Donald Trump just said the death penalty. He called for someone's death, and Trump will say, "Oh, I just said words. I was the death penalties. You know, not literally."
No, didn't he do the same thing to? Didn't he do the same thing to Mike Pence? Hasn't he done it to so many other people where he uses his mob-like code language in order to say things? He'll say, I didn't mean the death sentence that somebody should kill him. I'm saying that it's the most significant of penalties. And, you know, Donald will spin it any which way that he can to benefit. But look, you know, This is why I keep saying, and I'll say it over and over again, it is so important that our brigade becomes into the millions and millions of people so that we can make sure that one of our brigaders turned around and said, we have not a blue wave. We want a blue tsunami. We want our tsunami to basically spread across the entire country and make sure that people like Marjorie Toilet Green, you know, people like Comer, people like Jim Jordan, that people like Josh Hawley, Matt Gaetz, you know, Ted Cruz, Lauren Boebert, and so many others, that they don't ever get a chance to see the office of Congress ever again, or any other position for that matter, because they are so bad for our country. And if we're going to continue to be the beacon right on the hill these people have to go. And that's going to be up to us to do it.
And I don't know if you've seen this, Cohen, but that Hunter Biden's legal team is like now fighting back. He brought on Winston Strawn. They brought on that former Republican Congress member, Denver Riggleman, who's done the forensics regarding these messages, and showing that these messages that these MAGA Republicans are sending are fabrications. Like, yes, the people who are lying about the January 6th insurrection, who fabricated information about that, the people who have fabricated information about the 2020 election, guess what? They're fabricating this again. And here's just one example, which I think is a very powerful example and just so obvious. This was just posted or was posted by the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, MAGA Republican Jason Smith. And again, that's like one of the most powerful committees. You've got that committee, you've got the Oversight Committee, you got the Judiciary Committee, all run by MAGA Republicans. So they're posting this and saying that this belonged to Hunter Biden. And this is what Hunter Biden's lawyers explain. They go, the screen grab images you posted are not real and contain a myriad of issues. Both include a photo of Mr. Biden, not from 2017 when you claim it was sent, but from the White House Easter egg roll in April 2022, long after the purported message was sent. Both images portray the message in a blue bubble when WhatsApp messages are in green. One image superimposed the Chinese flag for contact ID when surely that was not how a text or contact was kept. And one purports to be a screenshot with the ... of someone composing a text as an Apple's iMessage when that does not happen on WhatsApp. In short, the images you circulated online are complete fakes. Many media articles confirm the data purported to have come from Biden's device have been altered or manipulated. You or someone else did that again. All of the misstatements about this communication and your use of false text are good examples of how providing one-sided, untested, and slanted information leads to improper conclusions. And that's why we have this show, Cohen, to point this stuff out, because large media networks just say, oh, well, these are just the conservatives talking, and here are the Democrats. No, this is about truth. This is about the facts. When we talk about political beatdown, what we're saying is an end to all of the BS and an acceptance that we need to focus on the truth and objectivity and compassion and humanity and decency, and we have to follow the facts. Like, how dare this MAGA Republican, Jason Smith, and all of these people knowingly post fabricated information, engage in these disinformation campaigns, rely on whistleblowers who are actually enemies of the United States of America. That's called treason. That's not, oh, you're just attacking conservative speech. That's not conservative. That's criminal. That's what that is. We're going to expose that all here on the Political Beatdown. Cohen, what's
that we will. And, well, look, let me just say the following. If you'll support me, if I end up deciding to run for Congress, do me a favor, smash a heart, smash a Michael emoji, whatever it might be, because I will be asking for everybody's assistance in terms of, going forward. It's going to be a fight like hell, but I'm up to that challenge, that's for sure. So I'm looking forward to Friday. I'll report back next Tuesday regarding that. And as far as everything, Ben, that you said, it is all about sustaining our democracy. This has to stop. This nonsense has to stop. These MAGAs, these far-right fringe, fools that are all about white privilege. They're all about, what's beneficial to them, not to the country. That's not the way that we survive. It's not the way that we continue to grow. And again, Political Beatdown, thanks to our brigaders. Join us every Tuesday, Thursday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure your friends are here as well, and that way you have stuff to talk about after hours. And again, thank you to each and every one of you for all of your support, not just with the GoFundMe, and I will report back on that as well once I return from Florida, if I end up going. So again, thank you, and thank you.
support Michael Cohen's legal defense fund. We have the link below. It's in the description of the YouTube page. For those who are seeing all of the great emojis in the YouTube chat room and you want to know, how do I get a badge? How do I get an emoji? Become a member of the MeidasTouch Network YouTube channel. If you're already a member, you can buy memberships for other people. You can gift memberships. If you want to receive a membership, you can ask to receive a gift as a membership. And we don't have outside investors here on the MeidasTouch Network. So it's one of the ways we build this independent media platform. And I think it's a super fun way to do that. So check that out. Become a member. Also, check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch. That's different than the YouTube membership. There you get first looks, you get Zoom chats with me and my brothers, and you get exclusive podcasts you can only get on our Patreon, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Go to store.MeidasTouch.com for the best pro-democracy gear, including the official mea culpa gear right there. That's the Mar-a-Lardo Correctional Facility bestseller. That's store.MeidasTouch.com. Everything's 100% made in the U.S. Everything is 100% union made at store.MeidasTouch.com. Also, if you listen only on our audio podcast here, subscribe to the MeidasTouch YouTube channel. MeidasTouch YouTube viewers, just do me a favor. It takes maybe 2 minutes. Subscribe to the audio podcast of Political Beatdown and leave a 5-star review and a description.
And do the
Short
same, by the way,
description.
with Mea Culpa, please.
Do the same with Mea Culpa.
Killing
by
it,
Michael
killing
Cohen.
it. I think we're number 32 in the country right now for news. So again, to subscribers and listeners, that's what you get from me.
And finally, I want to say thank you to the Beatdown Brigade. This community is the most important thing to us. To have this intelligent, compassionate, loving community that focuses on humanity and decency and our democracy. This didn't exist before the MeidasTouch Network, before shows like this and others here on the network. And that keeps me so motivated each and every day to be a part of this community with all of you brigaders, to all the Meidas Mighty out there, and to all of those who watch the MeidasTouch Network. Share. The best thing you can do is share news about the show with all your friends, family, colleagues, coworkers. Tell them about the network. Tell them about Political Beatdown. Even if you just get 1 or 2 people to start watching, that is big. And of course, if you can get more people to watch, the better. Let's keep growing this pro-democracy community.
Hey, Ben,
thank you,
Ben, before you split, what has 2 thumbs and wants to see Trump and all his sycophants locked up? This guy. Beat down.
Shout out to the Meidas Mighty.